Okay, Lauren, be quiet. All right, so let's get going here. So this is the Woodbridge Conservation Commission regular meeting, November 19th, 2015. We're going to start our agenda with public comments. Nobody from the public is here to speak, so we will move past that one. Next on the agenda is to review the minutes from October 15th, 2015. Now this was our joint meeting with QPOP and REC that we held over in the Senior Center. And that one actually had public, which I was surprised to see, which was awesome. Lauren took some minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
As written.
I will second it. Any discussion around the minutes from that joint meeting? No? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't there.
Frank's abstaining. Okay. No opposed. All right. Next up, trail walk updates. We just had a trail walk led by our fearless trail leader, Frank, over at the West Rock behind the Darling House. So Frank, since that's the most recent one, I'm going to let you speak a little bit about how that walk went.
Oh, I think it went very well. We have a list. It looks like we got 14 to 15 people. Our first selectman joined us. Also, another member of the Board of Selectmen, Tony Anastasia, joined us. So thanks to Ellen and Tony. We got people from Westville, Central Avenue, West Rocky Avenue, New Haven, Orange, Bethany, of course some from Woodbridge. Of course our we had Mike Walters, our trail master, helped us out, and he does that quite often. And our thanks to Mike. He's always there to help. Of course, Jason, thank you for being there. Mm-hmm. And I just think we also had some people from the West River Coalition, which is a group of people along the river from the different towns that came from New Haven. So we had Kathy Fay, and we also had Stephanie Fitzgerald, and these are two people that have been very active in that organization as far as getting a watershed management plan for the river, and it's something new that's come up. And because we have a watershed management plan now, we can actually obtain some funds from the state to keep improving, to do more improvements on the river than have already been done. So it was a great group of people, and I think everyone enjoyed the hike. It was a wonderful day. It was a beautiful day to be out. Mm-hmm. So that's about it. Thanks to all who came, and hopefully we do another one soon.
And I had a flyer from the West River Watershed Coalition, now on their mailing list. And I'll pass this around just so everybody knows what it encompasses. And I just did a little circle and an arrow pointing to where the trail was that we had walked along West Rock. So if you want to take a quick look at that, and I'll pass it down to you guys. The weather was beautiful.
It was.
I gotta say, we could not have had a better day.
By the way, the West River Watershed Coalition, it has the same objectives in mind as far as extending the trails and doing some of the things that we're interested in, only further on. Mm-hmm. The entire extent of the river, all the way from sound to source, so what I'm saying is we have a lot in common with those people. So it was nice getting together and talking with those people in that organization. I've seen that many times. Yeah. I'm part of that. So we should pass it that way, please.
And the trail that we walked actually bordered the parcel that we're going to talk about later this evening.
Section.
And we stopped and pointed out to the members that were out walking with us where the trail crosses into private property, and there was a deer stand with the leaves down. You could actually see one of the deer stands that was off into the woods, not too far from the border of the town property and this private property.
Yes. That was an ideal situation, because those people got to see what we were trying to do as far as purchasing that land to extend our trails further down south.
Yeah, and I had a great conversation with some of the people that are involved with that right along the walk, so it was a excellent.
Yeah, well, it was a real interesting walk, and we had some great folks there.
So our next trail walk, we're going to focus on the first weekend of every month. So it'll be led by Tom Kennefick, and I don't know if he had decided on the 5th or 6th of December. And hopefully, we have these warm stretches of weather continuing. I mean,
Let's hope it's warm.
It's practically Thanksgiving here, and it's in the 60s. It's crazy. So Tom's not here tonight to talk about what trail he might be leading us down, but we'll get an update. Betsy will be able to update the Woodbridge Facebook page and
we'll
email
check
us.
in with him tomorrow.
And any other avenues that other members here could think of to advertise the walks, please do. Prior to the walk that Frank led, I put a message out to the Bethany Woodbridge Facebook group. So if you can think of others.
And did the people from New Haven hear about it from you, or did we?
Oh, yeah, I advertised it at one of the coalition
Through
meetings.
that group?
I did. I put it on their website, so.
All right.
But that's great. I mean, I could do the
Yeah.
same thing for the next walk, let them know,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, any other questions or comments about trail walks? All right. Next
I'm
on,
sorry, I do have a question. Are you thinking of doing one in January, or are you thinking of waiting till a warmer month, or what do you think about that?
February might be hard.
January and February are definitely tricky. Even March can sometimes be tricky on the first weekend in March. Let's wait until our December meeting to figure that one out, because it'll still be a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Actually, when does the first weekend in January land? That's actually January 2nd, I think. Yeah, the first, so New Year's Day is a Friday, and that first weekend would be the 2nd and 3rd. So it's right,
Probably really bad time.
Right at the-
School's around and people are still on vacation too.
yeah, it's right at the beginning of the month. But we'll talk more about it and at our December meeting.
What was the date for our December meeting?
Our December Conservation Commission meeting is December 17th. So something that I tasked myself with was to work on a open space management plan for the Elderslie Preserve using framework from the Yukon Clear resource online. They had a habitat-based management plan, and I worked it around. Put together basically a blank framework. Did fill in some blanks based upon some information I could pick up online, sort of the easy, low-hanging fruit to fill out this document. And I have made, sadly, no progress since our last time we talked about this. So what I would like to do is to wrangle up a couple of you around me and try to divide and conquer on this. So there's some distinct sections to this management plan. Now everyone's looking, I think I've got an extra copy. The first part, after the introduction and purpose, you get into a description that talks about physical characteristics, history, ownership, deed restrictions, and other management currently. It's my feeling that that kind of material is probably available in the town hall.
I felt like you had some of that in there.
There is a good amount in there, and that came right from, a lot of that came from the Greenway
Okay.
trail information that's available online. But what's missing is things around the deed restrictions and things that are in the records in the town hall.
Oh, okay.
I'm not able to make it to the town hall during the day, and I was wondering if one of you here might be willing and able to come to the town hall and look up the deeds for this parcel and any current restrictions.
I can do that.
Sure. If you have a problem, I'll help.
You can flip a coin.
Either one of us, if you
Okay.
want to do that, Lauren, fine. If you need help or you can't make it, just let me know and I'll do
Okay.
it.
That would be great. That would be a good step forward, just because that's one bit of info that we don't have readily available to us, is what's so that would provide some of the history too of the transfer of ownership, and in the deed it might explain purposes of why the property was acquired by the town. There's a section on this framework for characteristics, natural habitats, forest, scrublands, and that's one area that I've got
Right.
pretty much blank at this point in this framework. There are resources online. The Yukon Clear program does have maps. It might have some narratives online as well. It's something that could be done, from your couch at home. Is there anybody that would be interested in taking that part on? I could take up that one because it's not involving me trying to get somewhere during the day.
Yeah, we could split it up too. I could do some of it too.
All right, so Tim and I can work together on that one.
So that's going from
Just in that characteristics. So the natural habitats, plants, wildlife, cultural resources.
Okay, all the way
that
down to
block.
existing activities.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying to chop it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It does seem easily divisible.
You're looking for general descriptions, or you're looking for what's actually there, located on that property?
It's going to be a bit of both, because some of the information, we're going to get such a high-level view. For example, there's soil types, and there's soil types for the whole state, and those are available online, but they're very general. You don't actually know exactly what your soil is until you take a sample and take it to the
Well, it depends
ag
on the
station.
section of the preserve you're in too. I mean, there's a lot of
Rock
ledge,
and
then there's like those meadows.
Yep.
There's that vernal pond wetlands area of it.
Yeah, so it's diverse.
Yeah,
It's a big chunk.
it's a pretty nice piece of land.
The next section on existing activities, this one I think we could certainly perhaps reach out to the Land Trust, Mike Walter, and Rec to help with. It's more about trying to make sure we're all clear as to what we're not assuming, but knowing what goes on that property. And there's a section in here about prohibited uses, and I think that'll come out from any research that you're able to do in the town hall. The section here on forestry is curious to me, and I know that the Yale School of Forestry does offer assistance. I don't know, does anyone have contacts through Yale that might be able to get them towards the Yale School of Forestry?
I think Tom did, I'm not sure.
All right.
He's not here, but I'm pretty sure he had the contacts there.
It's not as though there's active forestry activities happening on the parcel, but it would be curious to see, because I know Tom recently, and within the last year, has been talking about being able to do cutting to allow new growth to come in and bring in different habitat for birds and smaller animals. So the School of Forestry at Yale might have some suggestions. Currently, there's nothing going on. The next section on current management, I think that's also one that the Land Trust and Mike Walter can help us with, and also Coopop. I think I would like to speak to them, because I know that they were working on a management plan. I haven't had a chance to speak with them since our joint meeting. I know, Lauren, you were at their most recent, did they talk about a management plan at their last meeting?
The last meeting was mostly focused on the Fitzgerald property, but I feel like they did say something about a management plan.
All
Their
right,
next
so it's-
meeting was gonna be a working meeting, they called it, to draft some guidelines, but again, that might have been for Fitzgerald.
All right, well, it's fresh in their mind, so maybe
Yeah.
I'll touch base with some of them. And then the last section in the document about future management, again, trying to leverage land trusts, Mike Walter, REC, and QPOP. And those are a little more nebulous in terms of what we can get. Right now, I'm just trying to get the concrete information. Town hall records, land records, soil maps, topographical maps, things that are existing that are really easy for us to put into a document. And then filling in the blanks on some of these other management and existing activities will take a bit longer.
Do you want me to reach out to, you want me to start with RAC to get their information?
Could you?
Sure.
Reach out to REC to talk about what's going on. That would be helpful. That would be
Find out
good.
what the current uses, that, if any, that they're using on the property.
Yep.
And should I dare to ask the question of what they would like to see for future?
Yes. You should. You should
You
dare.
have to join me and
Yes,
you
I
there,
will.
right? Yeah, I think
That might be a long answer.
they mentioned,
Well, we talked about it. It could be a long meeting, a long discussion.
I think they're talking about in the field.
Okay.
But, some of that stuff, the thing about that piece of property is there's a lot of wildlife and a lot of wildlife habitats. And just because you see an open field doesn't mean it's not an important active habitat for
Right.
wildlife.
Mhm.
So it looks like an awesome place to put a frisbee golf thing. But I've hiked there with my dog and scared up pheasants that are in the middle of the
The
field
fields.
nesting at certain times of the year.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different considerations for when you start taking some of this land that we have as just a natural piece of property and putting it to use for more than just the hiking trails.
Yep.
Because as far as I know right now, it's just the trails
That's just
for use. And I
all I'm aware of.
don't know if you can,
Changes that
if
they're
biking
planning.
is allowed on that, but I mean, that should come up. Some trails we can bike on, some you can't. Horses are allowed on some, but I think it's just the trail system as far as that
As far as
property
we
is
know.
used, right?
Yep. I believe so.
I'll check with them and see if
I don't
they
think. Yeah, I don't know if there's any camping. If the scouts do any camping, or if REC does some other programming out there. All right, that would be fantastic. That'll give us another step forward on this particular document. And if you
So you need-
and as you come across this information, feed it back to me through email. I'll put it all into a single document so we can, at our next meeting, take another look at our progress. So yeah, over the next 4 weeks, see what we can put together.
So you
I can
still
check
need,
with
you
Mike
still need
about the
somebody to
program.
contact Mike Walter, somebody to contact Land Trust.
I'm delinquent in getting a hold of the land trust, and so I'm gonna reach out to them. And then maybe Frank, you probably have more contact with Mike than I
Yeah, I
have.
could check with them about the current management and
Get some more information and I'll email it to you.
Perfect.
All right?
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be good. I could do that.
Thank you. All right, and then we'll move forward on this and see what comes
Would the
together.
plan be to do this for other parcels?
Yeah. If this seems like something that is manageable to start with and it fits in well with what QPOP is trying to accomplish, I think we could have a good framework and then replicate it across all the other properties that the town owns in terms of open space. That would be the goal.
Okay.
All right. Next on the agenda is the Connecticut Deep Oswego Grant. So it's the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition Grant Program.
Is this different than the one that we looked at earlier that we didn't have time?
So earlier this year, we looked at a recreational trails grant.
Yeah, okay.
That's what that one was. And we did have a whole bunch of content put together for a particular parcel using that grant.
Okay. So that was a different.
But we didn't move on that one for mostly because of the timing.
Yeah, we didn't, by the time we
really
came
crunched.
across it and then came up with a plan, it was a little too late.
We really crunched on that
Also,
one.
the town had to fund it first before we could get the grant, isn't there? Wasn't there something of that sort?
There was some stipulation.
Well, we
to
needed
that.
some, an appraisal, we had to get the property owners to agree that they'd be interested in selling.
Yeah, we did that.
But then I think there had to be an appraisal that had to take place.
Yeah, that was the other thing, yeah, there was a time limit, and we didn't have
And we
time to
couldn't
get the
get the time to
appraisal.
get that done.
And then I think we had to get the town to actually buy the property first, and then we'd get reimbursed. I'm pretty
Oh.
sure that's the way it read in that grant.
So there's a
that was
reimbursement.
that was an
Yeah,
issue.
okay. This one here, the town still, it only covers 65%.
Yeah, I understand that, but it
So-
does cover 65%.
But that's when you buy the property, not a reimbursement.
Right, it wouldn't be the reimbursement, it would be 65%.
So, this grant does come up every year, hopefully. Although right now, the way the budget is in Connecticut, who knows?
Yeah.
But for this fiscal year, it's there, and I don't expect any rescissions to hit this grant program. We've talked about this particular grant for another parcel in town. Some years back, we were looking at a property on Park Lane.
Okay.
That, I believe, it was about an 8-acre parcel abutting town and land trust property, and the Blue Trail cuts through it. Mostly ledge. There was one potential building lot on it. It's right along the power lines. And since our discussion of that parcel then, nothing has happened as far as I know with that parcel. I don't even know if it's still on the market. At that time it was on the market. But lately we've been focusing more on the eastern side of our town, over by West Rock. And that's where we just had our trail walk. And we've been talking about what's called the Nugent property over there. That's about a 25-acre parcel with the West River running right through the middle of it. It's at the base of West Rock, town property on one side, state property on the other, and West Rock, which is also state property, at the back of it. There is the ability to put one building on that property, but they would have to do, I believe, a driveway from Litchfield Turnpike across West River to the back of the lot to get to that building.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So it's very difficult to build on. Not impossible, but very difficult. Virtually impossible, I suppose. We did have, and this is the one that we looked at for the recreational trail grant.
Yeah.
And Frank and I were in a discussion with the landowner, with the town as well. Betsy was there. And he is willing to sell. So what I'm suggesting is that we go for it again. This grant is due February 2nd, so we've got a couple months to try to line things up. There's already been prior work on a grant for this particular parcel, so there's already some existing documentation and availability of maps and whatnot.
From where is that information?
I have it right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. That was by the,
So I had written most of the grant up to the point.
oh, you mean the one we were thinking about last
Yeah.
time? Okay.
So we would reuse a lot of the language from that grant. Likely re-engage that property owner in a discussion, but we would have to
Just
rally the.
a lot of the criteria in here, I mean, it's a watershed land acquisition, that's really watershed land, I mean, it's perfect for what we're trying to
It
do.
matches, I read through that whole description, and what we want to do when that piece of property matches really
It matches
closely
really that well.
This
That's
grant
what I
is
was
for.
thinking.
Yep. I
So
mean,
it seems like if we do a decent job on it, it fits.
that's my feeling too. It could be a real slam dunk. I mean, so the criteria are valuable for recreation, conservation of natural resources. Yeah.
Multiple habitats.
It's a prime natural feature of the state's landscape.
Yeah, you got
You got West Rock.
West River, Canol's Pond right down, I mean,
Yep.
it's really,
The habitats.
everything's included.
Relatively undisturbed of uncommon native ecological community. I don't know how undisturbed West Rock is. It seems as though big rocks fall off of it regularly. But
You have
No
a big,
plans to develop it.
yeah,
You know. I did notice
And-
that the state gets a full easement on the property
Yep.
if you purchase it.
Exactly right, yeah.
So the Board of Selectmen would need to know that
Yep.
when we request.
It is watershed property, as Frank mentioned.
Yes, endangered species, there's brook trout there.
Yep.
What
doesn't-
are endangered?
Brook trout, there's brook trout in that stream there.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
that listed
it's
as
been,
endangered.
a member of Trout Unlimited there looked at that a few years back, and they actually documented that for us, so we have a document. Give our brook trout there.
Yeah. It is not preserving local agricultural heritage, but it does protect protection of land adjacent to and complementary to existing open space. Well, it's surrounded by already protected parcels, so it
Yeah.
is. And the bigger picture here is that it would complete the greenway, or help complete the greenway, especially in collaboration with the West Rock Watershed Coalition, or West River Watershed Coalition.
Yeah, be great. And also, it would complete our link to the Naugatuck Trails eventually.
Eventually, it's a
Be
big
part of
step
that
forward.
system, right.
Yeah.
So,
And something that I would love to see is the ability for us to extend the trails from behind the Darling House through this particular parcel to the state property on the other side. Because there's the trail along the top of West Rock,
Right.
and you get great vistas, especially once you get down to West Rock Materials and Knoll's Pond. There's those sheer cliffs with no
Yeah.
trees. You can actually go to the bottom of that, and that's state property. And I'll tell you, the view from the bottom up is almost as good from the view from the top out. But to legally get there, you need to cross private property right now. So if we could make that accessible to the public, I think that would be a fantastic resource.
Also, I understand there's a trail from that Nugent property up to West Rock. I'm not sure where it is.
I'm not sure where that
but
is.
there is a trail.
There is, I took it once, it's
Yeah.
really nasty and steep.
Tough one though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably, but I understand it's there.
there is.
You know the
Yeah.
other one down the end that goes up to the
Yeah,
parking lot
right.
area?
The one that goes up to the
It takes
lookout.
an angle like that, but it's a lot steeper
Lot steeper, okay.
and rockier, and it's just doable, but it's a tough trail.
More
So you
more
could
challenging.
Yeah. So this grant awards up to 65% of fair market value. I last recall the town had somewhere around 70 to 80,000 in open space funds available. So
But we're close.
We didn't get a value on that property though, did we?
we did not get a value. The property owner did not offer a price.
Yeah,
On the Nugent property?
yeah.
He didn't give us a hard number. He gave us a soft number.
So around
I
200.
think we could do it for about 200, maybe just a little more, not much more.
Yeah. So the money.
I believe
For,
that's what,
close
you
to
know, we, of course, we'd have to check with
Right.
it.
So
That's where I was getting at.
yeah, I think we're very close to being able to cover it. But if we're able to partner with other organizations, whether it's the West River Coalition, the Woodbridge Land Trust, the Parks Association, the state even, because it does border state. And Frank, you
And that's
made-
what they're looking for, partners, so I think if we get enough partners. we
So
can do
we
this.
might be able to leverage some additional money through some partnerships perhaps, and keeping our eyes out for other grants. Because the town has to apply for it, I believe the proper protocol is for us to recommend that the town apply for the grant. This is sort of how we did the recreational trail grant. So I could go before the Board of Selectmen in December, plead our case for applying for this grant. But I would want this commission to vote and approve me to go before the Board of Selectmen to actually recommend the application of this grant.
Yeah, I would make a motion
I'd second that,
for you to
that Jason could.
present this to them.
Okay. And its purpose is to purchase the property known as the Nugent property over on the
Great.
bottom of West Rock. All right. Well, I can do that. I've done it before. I'm sure I can do it again.
Is there enough time, though? I mean,
No,
it
it's
sounds
again,
like...
we get into this, well, do we want to
You
vote
said-
on this
You said February
motion?
2nd, but if you're not going to until December, then we first have to, the appraisal has to be done before the application deadline, is that correct?
Well, February 2nd is the deadline for everything to get done.
Right.
So if I can get an agreement from the Board of Selectmen at their December meeting, that still gives us approximately 2 months. And remember, a lot of work has already been put into research on this particular parcel, so it's not as though we're going from nothing this time around.
Is there anything else that we can get moving on besides, or we'd have to wait? I mean, obviously, we'd have to wait for the board's approval before there can be an expense for an appraisal, but,
And Betsy, do you happen to know that, or maybe Pooh knows the next Board of Selectmen is December
8, I think.
8?
Second Wednesday.
Second Wednesday, so that's the 9th. Okay, so that's, I mean, really, that's sort of 2 weeks. I mean, technically, it's close to 3 weeks, but
is there research that needs to be done as to who can do the appraisal? Does it have to be an independent, I'm sure it has to be independent, but I'm just trying to figure out who, is there any legwork that we can do beforehand?
maybe. The prior grant, the recreational trails grant, did say that it required an appraisal, but Betsy got clarification, and that was something that could be done after the grant application was made and awarded.
Is that the
So
case here too?
This may have, when I scanned through, it may have said something like that too, the stuff I was reading.
I was reading, yeah, the appraisal and title search needs to be done. From what I read online before.
Yeah. So I don't think that should slow us down. I'm not sure there's anything that we can do in the next, I mean, next week is Thanksgiving, so we can kind of count that one out, which leaves us about a week and a half of any legwork prior to the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Right.
But we could certainly get all of our ducks in a row to lay out, these are the things that need to happen, and tell the Board of Selectmen that's, what we're expecting in terms of work to be done, to be able to go forward with this grant application.
It seemed to me that the appraisal thing was the only thing that would be really risky as far as getting it done in time.
Yeah.
The
And,
other stuff,
The title search is very quick.
yeah. And it could be another situation, and we can get clarification from the state as to whether or not it has to be done for the application or it has to be done for the actual purchase.
Oh,
It reads available for acquisition within a 12-month period, so I guess we can possibly get the grant as long as we would be able to acquire it within a 12-month period.
Yeah.
So whether that includes the appraisal or not, we don't know, but it sounds like it might.
And I can say that if we would submit for February, the awards don't come around until October. So then that's when the 12-month clock would start ticking after
I
that.
have that much time.
So we'd be here, if we were awarded this grant, we'd be sitting here in 2016.
how do they know how much they're awarding you?
You would ask for what you would expect it to
Okay,
be.
fair market
And we've,
price.
yeah, there has been an appraisal done on the property, but it's aged out by
Yeah.
about 10 years now. And since then, the market's been,
Yeah.
but nevertheless, I don't know if that would hold us up. We'll get some clarification around that. Any other discussion?
I would just say that I think you know this, Frank. This landowner has apparently frequently said, yes, I'm willing to sell, and then says, no. So other organizations, and maybe the town also, have been trying to buy this land for quite a long time.
I think he's in a different situation. Last time we spoke with him, he said his family's ready to sell because they're in different parts of the country. We could check that out. We could call him and make sure before we go forward to, but it's a good point. It probably has happened before, but I think at this point, he may be really, he sounded like he was pretty.
Yeah, I wasn't there in person, I was there on the phone. You were there in person, so you got to
He was
see.
pretty right.
Well, that other piece of
Yeah,
property that
right.
we've talked about, if that were to happen, we get this grant, can't make this deal, again, the verbiage about being available within 12 months, could we shift to a different piece of property, or does that,
I doubt it,
okay.
just because the
Then
grant would be specific to a
Specific to
certain-
that,
Yeah,
okay, you'd have to, submit something.
yeah, I mean,
And this particular grant fits that property. Correct?
Yeah, it does.
You know, Tim, I don't know if it would be that easy to shift it over to.
I mean, Park Lane is similar in a lot of ways, smaller parcel, cost less.
Possibly Park Lane, yeah, that would abut with other trails.
Yeah, it continues
So,
to be,
yeah, it might.
it has
But
a
I
lot
don't know if you,
of,
yeah.
for what this grant seems to be aimed at, but.
All right, so, motion's on the table. No further discussion. All in favor of me going to the Board of Selectmen and giving the pitch?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Excellent. All right, next on the agenda is just the chairman's report. So I have a few items to tell everyone about. Contacted by the Massaro Community Farm. They were awarded a new grant to do fencing and irrigation on an additional plot of land that was already cleared with the help of prior grants. The purpose of the irrigation and fencing is to be able to expand the growable fields. For those of you that are familiar with the property, if you are coming from the gun range end of the property, and the field opens up on your left as you go down the road, that first field that opens up, go down to the bottom of that, there's a little stream. And because the field is on the other side of that stream, there's going to have to be some disturbance to the stream. The irrigation line is going to go under the stream. So there'll be some initial trenching, pipe will go in, and then the stream will be put back. All the rocks and everything will be put back. They had to go before TPZ to get official approval, but they were just notifying us that that's what's going on up there, in case anyone's wondering or hears anything. But it will allow additional growing space up at the farm and allow greater, I think, crop rotation throughout the fields.
And ideally, if they'd get the work done now at this time of year, the stream is dry,
Yeah, completely.
so it has less of an impact
That makes
than
more
if it has
sense.
to-
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how they would do
than if it
that.
happens in the spring.
Yeah.
So it dries up. It doesn't run all the time.
Yep.
Maybe it'll be running tomorrow because of the rain.
Yeah, a little bit, if we get enough rain.
But it's dry right now.
Let's see. This past weekend was the Kakiwik conference. I had originally signed up, however, due to a scheduling conflict in my personal life, I was not able to attend it this year. But I can say in prior years, it's been a fantastic conference to go to. Another good conference that's coming up in March is, I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, there's another conference coming up in March, similar in scale. It brings people from all over the state to attend workshops talking about various conservation measures and topics. Let's see, trailblazing. Out of the blue, I was contacted by a gentleman in town that walks all of the trails, and he happened to be up at the Elderslie Preserve and noticed that the blazes on the trees were sort of faded and a little difficult to see. So he offered to go and reblaze for us.
Wow.
Well, I said, let me talk to Mike Walter. So I talked to Mike Walter, and Mike said, it sounds fair. Let me see if I've got some paint cans that match the colors that are up there. So I'm getting that gentleman in contact with Mike, so this guy can take a can of paint out with him the next time he goes walking and touch up some of the blazes. I think that was excellent. I would love to see some more
That's a home
volunteers
run.
come out.
Yeah, to get
Wow.
people involved.
Well, it's
you know.
good as long as he gets with Mike and gets the
He does
instructions.
it, he does
Because
it properly,
Doesn't-
absolutely right, yeah.
because I did that with Mike in Alice Newton Park.
Right, yeah,
And
he-
someone had been in there and blazed the wrong color
Yeah,
on one of the trails.
yeah. The nice thing,
We don't know.
yeah, I mean, I haven't,
So as long as he's
I've
getting the
only-
instructions
yeah,
and the right color paint, because it can cause trouble.
yes, absolutely. Purple
Oh, yeah.
looks blue and blue looks
Yeah,
purple.
if all of a sudden someone's hiking and the color changes,
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to get in contact with Mike to make sure everything was correct. This gentleman had only corresponded through email, but he also indicated that he is, I thought he had said Certified Appalachian Mountain Trail Club, something or other. So he's not just some guy that saw faded paint and wants to paint. He actually seems to have some background in trails, so that's
So
fantastic.
he may end up helping with some other
Yeah,
projects.
absolutely. Absolutely. And this past week, Lauren, in her numerous evening meetings apparently, you got to go to Coopop this week.
Yes.
Do you have any highlights you'd like to share with us?
Well, it was mostly focused on the Fitzgerald property. They had a lot of public comments, very lively discussion. I think their main mission is really aligns with ours. They want to maintain the integrity of the natural venue, really, for each space they, are looking at. They're talking about like uses of farmland. So the Elderslie Preserve is on this list. So I don't know if that impacts what we're doing but.
It'll definitely talk about the uses of the property. 'Cause I
Yeah.
know I believe those fields are hayed
Right, that's what they said.
at least once a year.
So, for 3 fields.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
And before everybody goes, just take one of these. And all the extras get to put up. This is the Habitat. It's a newsletter from Kakiewicz, the conference that I happen to miss. But otherwise, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you as well.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Is that,
All in favor?
Yes.
all right.
Aye.
Let's go home.
All right.